absolutely trucked from behind. She's ready to do the hit. The whistles are being blown. She takes a...
All right, well, here it is. Backup quarterback. Chandler Harnish throws, and Pam Oliver, wham. Let me tell you, that ball had a tight spiral, and it had some hum baby on it. And, hey, Pam, toughest person in this stadium.
Thanks for you guys hitting me in the face with football.
Oh, yeah, we apologize on that.
This kid is physical. He's strong. I mean, arguably the top offensive lineman this morning in the one-on-ones. I mean, he's out there with a kid like Cameron Robinson. And what?
You know, all of a sudden, there really have been questions about this defense, which is ranked 21st. Not having Benson is going to hurt. You know, I had an interesting talk with offensive coordinator Tom Butt. Did you guys just see that football? I saw it. Anyway.
And I know we're moving fast, you know, to get physical out there on the field. And we come at full speed and she's sitting down, you know, taking pictures. I know that kind of hurt her. So I had to make sure she was all right.
What did you say?
No, I just rubbed her head. It looked like I hit her head. Yeah.
It was a bit of a rough start there. I don't know if you guys noticed I started the countdown before I went live, but I figured it out eventually.
I didn't know that wasn't a thing.
I didn't know you could do that unless it was. I thought it was all automated. I'm not running the board.
I pressed countdown, and I thought maybe like it would have dual usage with it. You know, countdown also go live at the same time.
Well, this is also our first week of the preseason, so we're free to act like we've never played this sport. We've never done this before. I don't even know what I'm talking into. Hopefully, I make the team.
Did you guys watch any preseason football?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with preseason takeaways, or Magoo, you were getting into conspiracy theories before we went live? Or do we want to start with this?
Well, I was intimating before the show started that where we left the season off last year, the big hoopla, especially in our circles, was I think it's like a perfect circle coming back together, where we ended the football season with that motherfucker isn't real. And then right before the season started, we had another, that motherfucker isn't real. And I'm just saying, don't get tricked by the desire to hope that there is something there that isn't real. It could just be a crazy white woman on Ambien and 3 glasses of wine. Or it could be that is Damar Hamlin. He is alive. It is the guy. Don't get sidetracked down that road where they want you to go, because they can literally prove that that's the guy. Let's not all of a sudden stop asking the question, or just be forced to accept the fact that the dude's heart stopped in the field of play from a routine football play, and we're supposed to jump on this other playground of they swapped him out. Remember why we are all like wondering or curious that he could be dead, and where did that story start? Don't lose track of the thing that they want you to go down.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
4D chess, 3D chess.
Don't get caught up in the he's been dead and he's they're on their third Damar Hamlin. Like,
yeah.
Don't do that.
But where no one's focusing
or
on
do
what
that
exactly happened.
Do that. All I'm saying is that they want you to go in that route because they can mock you. But if you force them to say, but why did his heart stop? Then they have to go, but don't you think it's like the fourth Damar Hamlin? And it's like, no, I don't.
You're already nuts because you think he's a double or a triple or whatever. So I'm not going to answer your question about your legitimate question about what exactly happened out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, you're smarter than we give you credit.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, don't forget
go down that road either.
Yeah, see,
This is true.
that's a road that nobody wants you to go down, including me. But it's just don't forget the whole reason why we even know that man's name outside of Buffalo fans. Because let's be honest, nobody knew who he was.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you get one dude's heart to stop, and everybody knows his name. I mean, goodness, anybody will do anything to get famous these days, right?
So is he is he actually playing because he can still play, or he's back to the level, or getting back to the level that he was at before, or are they putting him out there as a feel-good story?
Well, definitely the latter, but he also might be able to play too. Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's it's bad business not to capitalize on that man's name this year.
Sure.
And in the end, this is a business.
I did not check out the Bills preseason game.
I do. Maybe this is getting weird.
He had 3 tackles, Justin.
There was a game. It might have been a playoff game that the Bills did last year where DeMar Hamlin came to sit up in the box, face completely covered, wouldn't show him, waved, didn't speak with him. I'm not convinced that was him. So I can stop the conspiracy at that point where I suspect the guy on the field now is him.
Yes.
But I can completely see a team going, just dress a skinny guy up and put a mask on, kind of pump the fans up, wave. Because if he's really there, he would he not have come out on the field and said, like, "What's up, Bills fans? I'm back," kind of thing. It was very weird and hidden. So I'm not trusting that was him, but I do suspect that now the person playing football is him.
I'm totally with you. And if WWE ran the NFL, they would have rolled his ass out to the 50-yard line, but not before killing the lights,
just wheeled him out,
and just playing a steady heartbeat rhythm through the stadium. And you know how the Bills have those red lights in the private suites?
Yeah.
Having those flash, smoke coming up, and then he literally just appears like the Undertaker at the 50-yard line. But the NFL doesn't know how to step their game up.
Right. Yeah.
But what are we going to do? All right. Thank you for entertaining me on that.
Yeah. No, well.
There was something on. What else were we hitting on?
Well, I think the big thing is, like, okay, so first of all, welcome back, viewers, watchers, listeners,
welcome to
people
Clock
on the show.
Management. Blah, blah,
It's been a
blah.
long off season. Anybody have anything they want to, like, I don't know, has anything happened in the off season anybody gives a shit about that they want to share?
I moved. I'm in a new house.
You go.
Look behind me. Can't you tell? No, you can't. But
there's no window back there.
No,
you got the same lighting. So.
It looks like you just turned 90 degrees.
Yeah. New house. It's welcome. It's awesome. So I'm glad to be here. That's the best update I can give. Well, there's a better one, but I don't want to get into privacy.
Right on.
Okay. I am in the same room, the same house, different position in my room, and I realize that light up there is really annoying, but
it's a little bright.
I don't know what else to do. So we'll figure this out.
It's Tom Brady. He's in there with you, but
I'll move it down. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah,
sure.
That is better.
Okay. I did have to retort against something you said, Magoo, in the last episode, which was 2 weeks ago. You were mocking my beloved Wolverines Georgia drill. And I will be honest with you, when that first came out, I was like, that is kind of dumb. It's stupid. We haven't played Georgia in 2 years. Obviously, they smashed us. And of course, I saw all the jokes about, well, you need to put in a TCU drill first. It's like, just
now that is funny.
When I heard Harbaugh explain it, though, it's not like when they run that practice, it's not like we're running a play to beat Georgia's scheme, or we're trying to like find a scheme to beat Georgia's defense, all that stuff. It's like Georgia's the gold standard of college football. And we're able to do they're able to go against our strength with their strength, which is, I mean, you were able to run the ball against our rush defense, which was good that year. It just completely demolished us. So it was more like striving to be that gold standard as opposed to beat Georgia, if you will.
Sure. And there's been a lot of internal debate amongst the Bulldog faithful on whether or not Michigan is to be mocked for that, or if we should take it as a sign of respect. And I've cited, like, in all reality and not like being a goofball on the internet, I actually looked at that and said, holy shit. All right, that's a sign of accomplishment from our position. And so I see that as as like a tip of the cap, saying, hey, you got us once, but and we respect where you're at now, but if we want to get to where you have been the last 2 years, we want to like mimic that, try to gain some knowledge from that experience and try to become that, if not beat that. And I can respect that, but at the same time, it's sports, and my way of flattery is shit talk.
Sure.
If I'm deciding to shit talk your team, that means that I'm paying attention to your team because
There
you're
was
coming
the
in
year
preseason too.
There was also another explanation is that the year that the Super Bowl was played in Miami, one of the years it was played in Miami, when Manning won his first one, and I guess he had like a portion of practice, like an extra portion of practice all year long, where he practiced with like a wet football because there was a chance that it would rain in Miami, and sure enough, it did.
Wow.
So that like foresight of like,
that's confidence.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, if we're going to be there,
yeah,
and then also it's possible that it rains, we're going to be prepared. Michigan makes the college football playoff again. It's a high likelihood that they will face Georgia, especially if they win their first game. And so if there is a practice session in which they have been preparing for Georgia, it's nice to kind of have that to hang on.
Well, and I know that this is typically like 95+% NFL talk show, where most of what we discuss on this clock management is NFL. But I do think, if I remember correctly, plans for this upcoming season is, yes, we are going to be implementing a competition to the college game day time slot for only 1 hour out of their 3 or 4 or 9 that they do now, where we'll be talking strictly nothing but college, and we'll be talking about rivalries, history, matchups of that week, the local news going on between, the same thing we do with the NFL, but with a little more passion from my end, because college football is where I spend 80% of my football fandom and attention.
And Buck will be making special guest appearances where he picks games, right, Buck?
Sure, I'm down for that.
It's like that. What was the game day episode or show last year where that guy was just picking teams based on? He's like, "Yeah, I dated a girl at East Carolina once." So
yeah, one of the celebrity guest pickers.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was.
And I think, if I remember correctly, he did pretty well. There was some celebrity that came in and was like, I don't know, I like the uniforms. And he just went, I think he was like leading the standings for the celebrity guest picker for like 8 weeks. Feels like something that I could
I could do better than that.
Yeah.
I know enough about college football to make some sort of, small educated guess beyond their uniforms.
Yeah. To me, football's football, and I'm happy to talk about any and all of it because it's by far my favorite sport. It has the longest off season of any sport, with the fewest amount of games played of any major sport. And so you get a shorter period where it's, full blown all the way out. Got to be into it from preseason till the Super Bowl, and even for the draft, because you're going to spend at least 6 months with literally nothing going on. Like not even injury reports or, what did we have this off season? I saw Peyton Manning did a Netflix series called Quarterback, which after watching that, I don't know if you guys saw it, made me feel even more confident that Matt Ryan fucked up by going to Indy. He should have stayed in Atlanta and taught Ritter. But Marcus Mariota, I wish him nothing but the worst for the rest of his career. And I'll leave it at that unless anybody's curious why. Because if you saw a quarterback on Netflix, I remember saying it during the season. The second that the announcement came out that we were going to be starting Ritter on the road in New Orleans, which was a stupid idea, one that would not have been made had Matt Ryan stayed in Atlanta. Marcus Mariota just left the team, like physically just said, boop, and went to Vegas to get physical therapy work done, and then immediately went to Hawaii and just was like, yeah, they told me they're starting Ritter, so I've been having this nagging issue that I never mentioned to anybody, but now that I'm not starting for a week, I'm just going to leave the facility and the state and the region and never come back. And so, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that signing. I knew that there was some history between Arthur Smith being the former Tennessee Titans OC. So I was like, maybe he's got something worthy of some, I don't know. I don't see it, but maybe. And then the second they said, hey, it's late in the season, let's make it or break it. You're not getting done. We're going to put in our next, generational quarterback, hopefully, to see what we got. And he was like, fucking deuces. So, Mariota, you were never a Falcon. And I don't know if there's a lot of pride behind being a Falcon, but you don't get any of that.
We're a prideful bunch down here in Atlanta.
Hell yeah. But no, I highly recommend Quarterback on Netflix if you have it. If not, I'll give you my password after we get off and feel free to watch it. It's a really good series.
You're offering me and Buck your password, or the others that are watching this?
No, just y'all two.
We got a big audience right now.
It's just us.
I'll tweet us
three.
There was one other thing from the previous show. Buck, your level of excitement regarding not playing fantasy.
Oh yeah,
it made me uncomfortable, man.
It did.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. All right, carry on.
I'm still excited.
One of the things that I look forward to all year long is fantasy football, and for you to just go, yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, boy, am I.
Why?
Because for one, I'm going to be traveling more than usual. Two, I've just done it. I've done at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 leagues for like 20 years. That's just a lot. And it's nice to get a break and focus on my team. And that's it. I watch the other games, but I don't have to worry about which player's doing what and stressing me out. And
I like to worry about that stuff.
I have to worry about one team enough,
That's fair.
All right. So beginning of the season, or actually the season hasn't even started. We still got 2 more preseason games to go for most teams. I don't know if the Jets still do. But I'm curious, by week 13, if the Raiders are out of it, is Buck even gonna give a shit about the NFL at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to
normally
see how Carter does in that playoffs.
Okay, because that's I saw what you did.
Preview of the preview.
I saw what you did there. Because normally that's what gets me through the last, third of the season, sometimes quarter of the season. Is after the Falcons have already just taken a huge poo right on my football heart. Even though, unlike DeMar, my heart doesn't stop. I still have something to look forward to, and that is fantasy potential, like bragging rights, shit talking, whatever. And so I still have a reason to continue to watch, because normally once my team is just done, and you can tell when a team is just given up, it just completely evaporates my entire desire to even pay them any attention. And I don't know if that's a fair weather fan or just don't.
It's.
Don't take it for granted, the fact that you're being paid millions to play a child sport. Maybe just go out there and put good shit on tape for maybe even a better team. There's nothing I hate more than just when teams just mail it in. Or at this point, from this moment on, I'm going to say that's pulling a Mariota. just quitting on your team. Fucking, I hate it.
Yeah.
And
But I won't quit on them either.
there you go. Okay. Good pickup. I volleyed that without. That was a no look volley. Good pickup. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah,
I traded you.
man, this is not
traded
off
you
to
a
a great
tight
start.
end for your kicker.
Yeah, it was. It was bad. It was bad. There was a lot of bad last year, but again, college football got me through. That's why you got to diversify your fandom.
But when you did describe best ball to Buck last show, Buck, I'm in. That made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm back on the horse again. All right. We don't have to talk any more fantasy or conspiracies if there's nothing else in either of those realms.
If it comes up, I'm still gonna talk about it because you can't tell me what to do, Mark.
I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
No, it's all good. No, I think the one thing that we were missing last time we were together, that was supposed to just be an announcement that the show was coming back, but it turned into a 45-minute long, episode because, well, you know me, I'm short on words.
And this is clock management, so
we don't manage time at all.
No.
But now we've actually seen a full gamut of preseason where, sure, some teams did the typical starters aren't going to play at all, like the Falcons. And then you had the Super Bowl champs with their full-blown starters out there for a couple drives, which to me was bonkers, but you at least had everything that appeared like, hey, that's football, with guys with helmets and pads and logos on their shit.
Yeah.
They're keeping score, and you can start to see who might or might not, for some teams, it's who's going to round out the last 5 guys on special teams. And then other situations, you're seeing who's going to stack up in the wide receiver depth chart. And depending on what team you were watching, there was actually some pretty interesting things to look out for. And so, yeah, I don't know if I have the brain or the words to really parse out all of the intellectual side of preseason football, but at least there was a week of football played, and I'm hopeful with my team because of it. I was hopeful before preseason started, but I'm even more hopeful now because it looks like there's just a little extra give a shit coming off the bench that has not been there in Atlanta.
So they gave Desmond Ridder a real first quarterback treatment by not even playing him in this game.
Yeah.
Chicago didn't do this for Fields. Obviously, Denver didn't do this for Russ.
No.
And there are a few other starters that played too. So
did Russ play?
Russ played into the second quarter, right?
How'd he do?
I think Broncos are a mess this year, from what I saw, and from what we're hearing out of camp. I don't think Russ is. He might be. Well, he might be better than last year. That doesn't take much. He'll be better than last year, but I don't know how it'll be much better.
Well, obviously, a lot of people are banking on this thing of that the coach last year was not good, and he wasn't. He couldn't hack it. LOL. But it is interesting to see him on the Hard Knocks episodes with Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, Sean Payton comes in. Well, he's brilliant. So, therefore, it was the coach, not the player. I have my doubts that it was 100% on the coach. We'll see. I actually did not. I failed to watch our first, our week 1 competition in the real season. I did not watch the Broncos play. I kind of feel silly even knowing I didn't know Russ played. So that's interesting.
I think the Broncos played their starters more than any other team did this past week.
That almost sounds like it's Sean Payton trying to figure out if it was the players or the coach.
Yeah, what he's got there.
Well, because the first preseason game, he came out and said it was the coach.
I know,
publicly, as though he doesn't know how this operation works.
Right.
And which to me is not surprising because I watched him all of his years head coaching in New Orleans, and he was an embarrassment the whole time, doing the choke symbol on the sideline and just being an ass. Obviously, I have to hate him by default, and that carries into Denver. Altitude does not dissuade me from remembering all the dumb shit you did when you were in New Orleans, mainly beating us a lot. And this is sports, so it's the right to be petty, and I will be petty until the day I die. So I hope Sean Payton goes down in flames, and I hope that Russell Wilson drags him to the depths.
Me too.
And yeah,
starting week 1.
I am anti-Broncos. I've never been anti-Broncos, and they beat us in our first Super Bowl back in '98. But I am anti-Broncos this year, solely because of Sean Payton. And Buck, I think we might have a different tone when we get to the Saints this year.
I only like the quarterback. I don't care about. I actually don't like the coach, and I don't particularly care about the players on that team. He's in an NFC uniform now, and I would like him to do well. And it'd be fun to play the Saints in the Super Bowl. There's a pipe dream.
You think the Saints will be trashed this year? I was looking at
I don't.
No. Goo does, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, I don't. I want them to be. I think that they could. If I'm being honest, I think they could easily win the NFC South. I don't think they will. And I think that much like last year, where there were 3 teams at 7-9 going into the last week, with Tampa at 8-8, and they had the division locked up going into the last week, which is why technically Desmond Ridder beat Tom Brady in his last regular season game, because it was a shit show. But I think it will be something similar to that, except Carolina and Tampa will probably be real bad. But it'll be the Saints and the Falcons, and it'll probably come down to the last 2 weeks of the year, and they could easily take it. But I wouldn't be a good Falcons fan if I talked that shit.
Gotcha.
The Falcons will win the NFC South. I've said it 3 times now, twice publicly, and I'll continue to say it until it's
where was the other
impossible.
time, Jim?
Right.
That begs the question:
Which bathroom were you
is this
sitting?
third time? Which truck stop? Who was in there?
You know which one it was, Buck.
So, I thought that was you. I will say this about Carr. I was cheering for him, and I liked finally that he was playing a preseason game. I thought he should have been doing that the last few years. The media, the NFL media that I watched post that game, they sure were all about him. And I don't remember seeing them act like that the last 9 years. So that surprised me a little. There was a lot of, well, do you see how Derek Carr did this? Well, Derek Carr is just what they needed. Well, Derek Carr. And it's not like they were insulting him when he was with us, but boy, they're sure big on him now. So I thought that I was kind of like, okay, easy now. You weren't ever. I felt like I was this way for the last 9 years. The media wasn't, but you switch silver to gold, and they sure love him.
Yeah. Yeah, he got on that gold standard, and everybody's like, this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah. They're acting like it's pre-1971, and we're back on that. They're back on it. So that's something to see. I'm glad he's getting support. And I thought the one comment he made was, I'm glad to be on this side of the field, or something like, meaning on the Saints, when I play in this dome. And I thought, well, the last time you played there as a Raider, we won. So I don't know. He acted like he kept losing there or something. Anyway.
Well, he's about to do a lot of that. And then like, well, at least I don't have a long walk to the locker room.
Does Michael Thomas plan to play this year?
He was in the preseason game.
Yeah.
And he made a couple catches, if I remember correctly, and he is anticipated to be in the top 3 of the receiving corps. And I'm not going to lie, they have weapons. I mean,
Olave is good. I mean, Kamara's suspended for how long?
He's almost
one game less than Harbaugh, but
Harbaugh is at 0 now. Talks between Harbaugh and the NCAA fell apart.
Oh, he must have been having those talks in a gas station as well.
Right.
All right. Well,
so now if we actually win something this year, it'll be taken away a couple of years from now when they finally get around to the punishment. Sorry that we're talking NFL though. Harbaugh will be in the NFL by then. That's where it
Well, no, I don't think Michael Thomas will play more than 4 games. I think he is Sam Jackson in Unbreakable or whatever that movie is, where he's super fragile and just his body breaks down the longer he does anything. I think he is toe up from the flow up, and he ain't gonna do shit. I think Olave is their Julio Jones. They have a good, they got Jimmy the tight end.
Jones.
No, the tight end that they had
Oh,
that went to Seattle.
Wait, where did he go?
No, it's you're thinking of Jimmy Johnson, the Cowboys coach. It's not him.
No,
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Yes, yeah, they got him back.
Wait, what? He's still in the league?
Yeah. He's a cracker too.
Oh shit.
Yes.
He's a crack back. He's a blocker, right? Like
he's a graham cracker.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Well, he's back with the Saints, and I watched their entire preseason game twice because your enemy. Oh yeah, know your enemy. I only watched half of the Falcons preseason game, and I felt great. I watched the Saints preseason game twice.
You watched the preseason game twice, and it wasn't even your own team.
Mm-hmm.
I watched mine twice.
Oh wow!
It was that good.
I feel unprepared. You know what, Buck? You may have the best rookie quarterback in the class. Definitely the best.
Well, this week we did. This week we did. There was no doubt about it, and it did annoy me a little bit to see again some of the NFL media. It seems like every podcast I'm on, I have to crack on the media, even this one. But the NFL media was saying, "Well, look, what's his name? Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, AOC. That's what they call him. AOC was the best rookie quarterback in preseason, and he was picked in this round." It's like, you want to at least admit that all you guys did for prior to that draft was pump up all of the other guys that didn't play well. At least admit that without just kind of blowing it off like, well, AOC was the best this weekend and way ahead of these guys, and it's like, that's all you're going to say about it. Not like, maybe we made a mistake. We never even talked about Aiden O'Connell. But
maybe we shouldn't have propped up Anthony Richardson, who never had a good game at Florida.
Again, I've been saying it. I know, like, I love Matt. I love him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's 100% spot on correct that Anthony Richardson has all of the talent. My question is, does he have the technique? And right now he doesn't. And I know everybody is just falling over themselves to crown him the rookie of the year. He has the talent. You can see it. The ball comes out of his hand like almost like Vic. It's just like boom, and it's 60 yards down the field. But if the guy on the other end can't catch it because it's 15 yards beyond him, that talent is as worthy as my lack of talent. He looks good being bad. There, I said.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, Trey Lance looks similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a game we could talk about. Did you watch that?
I saw a whole bunch of Trey Lance highlights, which were mostly sacks. I saw the touchdown or the interception that then turned into a touchdown.
I know that was the most Raider play so far this season. That makes sense. But
so I saw a bunch of AOC. I can't call him AOC. I can't do it.
Yeah. He's not built that well.
Aiden O'Connell highlights. I was like, oh, this is just like he's just
not
an
top
efficient
heavy
guy. Like, he's not gonna wow you, but he's he's gonna complete passes. He's gonna have a high completion percentage. He's not gonna make dumb plays. And I saw him do that at Purdue for a lot of years, and I always thought he was a pretty good quarterback at Purdue.
I have to say, I did not follow him. I know this will be shocking. In college, I expected not good. I was kind of blown away after the first quarter. It was 99 yards to 1. That was with. I don't think we had one. We might have had 1 or 2 guys on the O-line that were starters. No one else. The Niners did start all of their guys, with the exception of Bosa, who's holding out. And it was 99 yards to 1 after the first quarter. I was shocked with that, and that included, I think, 2 sacks by our backup D-line, not including Max Crosby or the guy that we picked up in the first round, or Chandler Jones. I could not believe it, and I follow a few Raiders beat writers that I trust, that I know aren't homers, that are just going to, fill it with hot air because they like the Raiders. These are people that are honest, and they call it a good, when it's good, it's good. It's when it's bad, it's bad. And they keep saying, I'm telling you, this defense is good. This is not like we've ever seen before. I'm telling you, we've watched the last 10 years. This defense is actually good. That is very hard for any Raider fan to accept because it's just not possible, it seems like. But then I watched that game against preseason. Like Jim said at the beginning, I don't want to get thinking something that's not true. The defense certainly looked good, and that was the backup players.
Those sacks on Trey Lance, was that first string offensive lineman for the Niners?
Yes, as far as I know. And then we practiced against them all week, and Trent Williams and Max Crosby went back and forth, one-on-one drills, all of this stuff. And Trent Williams in the press conference was like, "The dude's amazing. He's one of the best I've ever played against." So it was that kind of talk where I was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we are a good defense. I don't know. And all you need is Jimmy G to be efficient and not get hurt. And we're certainly going to run the ball, Jacobs or not. I do think Josh Jacobs will be there. But I mean, it reminded me of just classic Patriot play calling. It was like run, 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 and then you're in 3rd and 2, and then they pass, or you're in 4th and 1, QB sneak, which we saw Tom Brady do constantly. It did kind of remind me of a team that I used to hate, the Patriots, watching them when I'd get frustrated, where the defense was crowding to the ball quickly, sacking the quarterback, and making interceptions. Another thing we don't do, but we all of a sudden do now. And then an efficient offense, taking your shots where you can get them and running the ball down their throat. I was just in shock, to be quite honest. So we'll see. That was one preseason game, but it was against a team I thought was fairly good.
Oh, I mean, full disclosure, I fully intended to pick the Niners to at least make the Super Bowl this year, because I think the trio of Darnold, Purdy, and Lance is good enough with the rest of that roster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lance, not so much. After
I think they're going to drop Lance.
Game.
I think that they're probably going to wheel him out the next 2 preseason games, try to get his stock value up so they can offload him for something, even if it's a 6th-round pick and 2 years from now. But I don't think that there's any desire to keep him on that bench, even though San Francisco, that field devours their own quarterbacks. I don't think that you really need to carry more than the 2 quarterbacks they already have.
I'll also say they did not start the tight end, which I like a lot. He's also, a fellow WWE fan. So he wasn't there. I certainly agree that.
And I'm sure McCaffrey didn't play.
Right. It was just so overwhelming of an ass kicking. After each day, I was paying attention to the reports during the week. Well, Raiders won that one. Oh, Raiders dominated the second one. It's just, I kept thinking, no, y'all are being homers. And then it played out the exact same way. And one of the beat writers, I follow his podcast, and he's like, I told you, this is what happened all week. Exactly what you guys saw in that game. So pretty neat.
Wait, I just had a total brain fart. The Niners got rid of Jimmy G. They got Brock Purdy. They still have Trey Lance. Who was the other one?
Darnold.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who actually looked, I thought he looked pretty good compared to Lance.
Lance did have some indecisive moments where it looked like he wanted to throw, and then he stopped and held it. But I don't know. That's got to be that Raider defense. He saw someone covered. What can you do?
Well, you also got to remember Trey Lance was like a shot in the dark. Like, if he were to work out, it would have been a GM's wet dream, because he was from one of the Dakota states, like Carson Wentz. That was shortly after Carson Wentz led the Eagles to a eventual Super Bowl run, even though he wasn't there for the playoffs. And they were like, ooh, we can get this like next to no name guy out of this. Like, GMs love to go for the diamond in the rough. And I think so many people thought Trey Lance was that next but better Carson Wentz. And just remember, he came from a small school playing inferior talent. He sat on the bench, and then the second he came in, he had a season-ending injury. He hasn't proven anything to anyone other than the tape jockeys that just only watch tape and scouts get it wrong all the time. I was watching a video. I forgot. I don't know the name of the guy who did it. It was on YouTube, and it was an algorithm suggestion where it was like, let's break down the actual true value of first round draft picks. Just going back the last 15 years. How long did they last? What was their performance like? How much did they eventually end up costing the team, both financially and performance-wise? And is there any true upside to the top 3 picks or the bottom 3 picks? And overall, it's actually worse to get the earlier picks as far as just on the field production compared to what you can get in later picks, like where the Patriots have been like giving picks away, going, no, we're just going to stack picks. We're just going to stack picks. We're trading back. We're trading back when they were winning all their Super Bowls. But it was interesting that one thing he talked about that I totally agree with is the incentive structure is much like in other facets of life, totally screwed up, where the incentives aren't designed for the betterment of the team's performance overall. It's, can a GM in the front office get a guy that puts butts in seats so they can justify keeping their job? And, so many GMs take long shots on guys, and it's the whole propaganda mechanism that builds up in football, just like any other media apparatus, where guys will get so overhyped that when they can't live up to that, they're just thrown in the trash to maybe come back 5 years down the road with a different team, and you've forgotten about the expectations for that player. And then they come back to be a decent player, but not a top 10 pick. Yeah. And I think Trey Lance falls directly in the bullseye of that type of scheme. Yeah. Like, to me, he's no better than Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. The only difference is they needed him sooner than they needed Love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Goff.
Yeah, Justin's right. Number 1 pick is overrated.
Goff kind of comes to mind. I mean, Goff isn't a number 1 pick type of quarterback, but he's in a pretty good situation now in Detroit. It took him a few years, and he got. I wouldn't want to say he got the Rams to the Super Bowl. Sean McVay got the Rams to the Super Bowl with Goff
and Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald. But yeah, like you said, you could have waited till pick 15 to get Jared Goff based off of production. Did you see, speaking of, we can get off the Niners, but had the story that came out, the Niners, had they won the NFC Championship game against the Eagles with McCaffrey basically playing Wildcat because they lost all their quarterbacks, that they were planning on having Phillip Rivers play in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I didn't see that. Wow.
I wish they would have won just to have seen
Me too,
that.
Just for the draw.
I like Phillip Rivers. I always liked him, but
I have grown to like him as well.
And Kyle Shanahan confirmed. They asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean that was the plan. We didn't have anybody else to play because Jimmy G was still injured. Purdy is still getting over his injury. Obviously, Lance wasn't ready. But who did they play? They started Josh Johnson, or they didn't start him. Yeah. They brought in Johnson.
Yeah,
and he got injured. Oh yeah, Alex Smith too.
Poor fella.
Jim Harbaugh
running out of town.
Jim Harbaugh rejuvenated Alex Smith's career.
Yeah,
and actually, then sat him for Kaepernick.
Yeah,
he took a knee on Alex Smith for Kaepernick.
Yeah. Kaepernick had a real good year and a half of playing and then fell off a cliff.
Yeah, the second half of 2011 and 2012 was it, and somehow we still know his name. It's
teams figured him out real quick, and that was it for him.
Yeah. Well, I did see one thing in the comments that wasn't addressed, and
where am I at?
It was about that team north of Richmond.
Oh, okay.
That they finally got rid of their old, no good for nothing swindler of an owner, Snyder, whatever his name. I don't know the first names. I'm on a
Dan,
second,
I believe.
Yeah, Dan. D. Snyder. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway,
nice.
So yeah, they finally ousted him because he's problematic, whatever that word means. And so now they're owned by Jay-Z, the Illuminati, and like Epstein Island. And
Wait, Jay-Z is an owner?
I don't know. I hear things. The internet talks a lot. All I'm saying is they got new owners. And now this whole thing has come up where it's like, well, now that there's new management, we gotta look at potentially rebranding because we gotta get this thing, we gotta shake off the heebie-jeebies of the Snyder era. And there was a story that was shared. I'm pretty sure you guys saw it. I think Justin shared it in the chat about how there is a what is it, like change.org? It's some petition to get the name back to Redskins, but it's not by worthless, redneck, backwood, cousin fucking white people. It's all of those things, but Native Americans. It was a joke. Anyway, that was terrible. I'm
That's
horrible.
true,
Kick
though.
me off. Kick me off.
I'm sorry. I was a little too slow to process that.
And it's American Indians are petitioning to get the name Redskin put back in because they're like, this is some pretty, like, we were conquered by better men than you guys now is pretty much their claim. Like, you guys would have stood no chance if you came off that boat and asked me what I identify as. We would have smoked your ass. And so they're like, be the conquerors that we've grown up, knowing. I don't know this white man that is scared of words. And I respect the fuck out of that. And I just want to say, here, let's pass that bitch around and let's get the Washington Redskins back.
Let's get the Redskins back. And while we're at it, let's get the Cleveland Indians back. Who else has lost their name? Is that it?
No, I'm sure there's been more. Let's get the Houston Oilers back.
There
And
you
let's put the Texans in Tennessee and let them figure that out and put the Oilers back in Houston because did y'all see that? Okay, so here's one thing that happened in the offseason. And then I'll shut up and let somebody else fill in the space. But one thing that I was paying a lot of attention to, also mentioned it in the group chat, was I don't know. I didn't know that this was going to be the year of throwbacks. Throwback unis. Every few years, like a team will come back and say, we're going to wear this awesome old uniform combo that everyone loves. But for some reason, they won't make their permanent because, well, it sells more jerseys if you make it temporary. It's the McRib fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
And
fallacy.
Yeah, because they would obviously make far more
money. Can you give me
money.
word for word what the McRib fallacy is, please?
I saw this on a Mises Institute panel.
Yeah. We make the McRib a special time limited offer because we are guaranteed to sell a certain unit. Then if we had it available year round, it would not be something that we could confidently stand on as knowing what its value back, the return on investment would be. So if it's the scarcity fallacy, if we make it scarce, if we implement false scarcity, we can up the value of the same product that we could easily provide 24/7 to the people who want it the most, but fuck those people.
It's kind of like when my girlfriend. Oh wait, never mind. Continue.
Yeah,
it's like Shark Week.
Exactly. All I got to do is just tell them there's blood in the water, and then you get scared.
Yeah.
That's Shark Week. But so anyway, teams slowly started releasing these, like it was almost like college football recruiting level video montages, or where players are like wearing the old get-ups with like LED lights going off, and they're like, yeah, boy, we're coming back like it's 1984. And it's like, I mean, just wear that in 2023 and just don't give a shit. Like, get rid of. And so I was a huge proponent of this, and I even remarked in the private chat, I was like, once NFL teams realize that their best uniform combinations have already been created, we will be far better off. And then I started listing a handful of teams. I forget them off the top of my head, but obviously the Falcons are one of them. The Buccaneers are another. Seahawks are one.
Yeah,
like
the Seahawks, like I can't stand the neon, so Seahawks will just stick with the retro.
Yeah, let Oregon rule the Pacific Northwest, gaudy, bright
Yeah.
colored black.
And that works
white,
better in
yeah,
college
bullshit.
than it does in the pros.
Yeah.
Just makes
And-
more sense.
And the Falcons look like a fucking Euro soccer team with ATL in the front and this stupid digital clock font. It's like, no, block letters, no shadows, no block shadows. No,
Yeah. I can't tell if 1 is 7 or 7 is 1.
yeah,
It's
just go NFL, for the love of God. Go from 1988 to 1992. That was the best era for uniforms for all teams, and call it a day. You never need to touch it after that.
And the Lions need to get rid of the all grays. They look like they're wearing pajamas. I hate it.
they're wearing their shit. What was that? Oh, damn it! Those it was a fad there for a minute where it was like an oversized blanket where it was yeah.
Yeah.
They just look like they're cozy on a
Yeah.
couch. You
So
know,
this is
just feeling
football.
like-
You're already playing in a dome, so
instead of a 2-minute warning, they just call it
Yes.
hit the snooze.
I don't know what it's like to have a team that keeps changing the uniforms. I don't know.
Bucks
See,
got
and
the
that's
old traditional.
That's where I respect certain teams like the Raiders and the Packers and even the
Although
Colts.
when the Packers go retro to those Browns,
Oh, those weird
those things
bumblebee
are-
ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Steelers have the bumblebee ones, right?
Is that what it is? Okay.
I think
Packers
so.
have something brown.
Packers have
have-
something that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have a yellow helmet and then a navy blue top
Yeah.
and like
what it
pea
I think that's- yeah.
soup baby shit green pants, and I'm like, this was clearly developed when there wasn't color TV or color pictures. Like
What team is this?
there was nobody there to go. There was no gay men designing the interiors of buildings back then, so there was nobody in the crowd to be like, "Hey, Hal, you think that looks fucking gay?"
It honestly makes me think that it was actually black and white back then.
Yes, yeah. You can't prove it otherwise.
To Jay Forte's point, there used to be 2 teams in the NFL that had a helmet on their helmet. One was the Dolphins, the other was the Raiders, and the Dolphins changed it. They have just the Dolphin now. Only the Raiders have
Oh, they had the helmet on the Dolphin, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Damn, now I got to think about that. Like, fuck, did the Patriots not have that? The old 3-point stance guy?
He's wearing a
I
Patriot
mean-
hat or whatever.
Or the
Yeah,
Buccaneer.
he's wearing that old school yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Sam Adams or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Paul Adams and Sam Revere. Get it right.
Yeah.
I'm that
Oh,
hoser from
boy.
Boston. Damn.
Any other takeaways from the preseason?
I don't know. I think we've covered. I was just like, well, it's just preseason week 1. We hit some
Yeah.
points.
Josh Fields. I can't get any name right. Justin Fields went 3 for 3 for like 149 yards. Both of them were a screen.
Through the air?
Almost all 3. Yeah. 2 screen passes that went for
Technically.
touchdowns.
Yeah, they were like bubble screens. It was just
Okay.
like, here. And then
However,
the guy ran the rest of the way.
I saw like a stat where last year the Brown Bears offense like didn't do screens for Justin Fields at all, which does not help him because we don't know if he's a good thrower. And so like most of their passing plays were, I don't know, 5 yards or more down the field. And apparently part of their offense this year is to try to incorporate more screens and whatnot. So Justin Fields' passing numbers may bump up a bit due to just a better system.
They definitely should. I know as of like a week ago, he was more than so in the offseason at this point, people are laying down money for who they think is going to get MVP for obviously the maximum payout before reality sets in and everybody realizes they just wasted a shitload of money. And that's why Vegas
It's Mahomes again.
That's why Vegas can build hotels with only 2 windows that are smashable by hammers. They have extra money to kill. And so Justin Fields is far and away the leading candidate, and it's not even close. He has more money down as being whether it's the NFL or NFC MVP than the next 3 guys combined. He is literally
Mahomes and Rodgers and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
He is
Garoppolo.
the American military budget, and Mahomes is China, and then Russia is Trevor. Yeah, you know the thing.
Oh, yeah, Josh Allen maybe or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Trey or Trevor Lawrence? Is that where you're going with that?
I see my brain got all
We're
happy that I
not-
made the
He
military.
actually also looked
thing.
fairly good. I watched his game against Dallas. He was after he threw a quick pick right in the beginning, and after that he looked pretty damn good.
Yeah,
And
I'm real high on the Jags this year.
yeah,
too.
I was impressed. It was painful to watch through. I don't know if this reputation is outside of Texas, but I watched it obviously on a local network where it was the Cowboys broadcast. The Cowboys broadcasters and the fans are very similar in that all they do, oh, we're going to be awesome this year. It's over and over. The kind of ongoing shtick here is that Super Bowl bound, baby. The Cowboys fans say that every year. I don't know how widespread that knowledge is outside of Texas, but their broadcasters were very. All we needed to do this year is fix up the run defense. Otherwise, everything's been great. And it's like then you're getting trounced by Trevor Lawrence, and that's like everything was great. What did I miss here?
Last I checked, their quarterback is still Dak Prescott too. Sorry, Justin. Just had to throw that in there.
But sadly, I think they might actually be better because they got rid of Zeke's little oh shit.
Yeah.
Ewok looking ass.
He went to the Patriots, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. He went to the Patriots, and what's his nuts from Minnesota? Dalvin Cook is now a Jet.
That's right.
Which
makes Hard Knocks even more interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which as soon as this show's over, I'm going right over there to watch Hard Knocks to see if there's any more funny quips that Aaron Rodgers has. I thought it was
He's pretty likable in the show, I have to say.
yeah. I've been an Aaron Rodgers fan for the last couple of years, ever since he started telling the powers that be to go F himself. He's like the calmest heel that I think I've ever seen. Like his peak heel nature is just to be like, yeah, I don't know, guys. Like y'all just want to talk all that shit. I don't know. Maybe Sean Payton should keep my coach's name out of his fucking mouth. Like maybe I'll just go stab the guy in the face with a soldering iron. I'm thinking about it. But hold on, I got to go throw some touchdown passes. I'll be back. And it's like, how do you not like that guy?
That's true. I like Rodgers. I don't know about that offensive line. Like it's great that they signed Dalvin Cook and everything, and they have Garrett Wilson, but the offensive line apparently is a problem.
Yeah, I mean the whole AFC East is going to be a problem outside of the Patriots. I mean the Bills. I think the Jets, the Dolphins. I don't know what to make of them. I think they're slow rolling their hand. I think McDaniel is trying to be Wile E. Coyote and be like, well, look, I guess if being mediocre was the goal, then Dolphins fans should be pretty happy. Like he's out there just underselling like a motherfucker, which means I don't buy it. I don't buy this underperforming Dolphins this year. I think that you'll see what now if they figured out a way to isolate Tua's brain where they can like remove it from his skull, keep it in a frozen cooler on the sideline, but still like keep it Wi-Fi connected, they're going to be unstoppable. But if that boy has his brain in his head, they're fucked unless they got a quarterback. Yeah. Oh no! What is he going to crane kick his way to the fucking playoffs?
Did anyone catch Baker Mayfield over the weekend?
I saw highlights. I honestly saw that they were playing, and I'm racking my brain going, who's their quarterback now? Until I saw a few highlights and
Baker and Trask.
I think the Bucks will be competing for that number 1 pick.
Yeah, I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan.
No, I hate both those quarterbacks.
Oh, pick the games already.
Pick the game. Are we picking games?
Are we picking preseason? Yeah, you are.
Here's
my 1 game pick.
I don't know how to pick a preseason game.
I got 2. I got 2 for you.
Oh,
Okay.
pick the Ravens, of course, because they have
Yes,
lost.
that was one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Buck. You were saying.
I think they're playing the Commanders. I think it's Monday Night Football.
Excuse me, it's the Redskins.
Yeah, he just spoke commie gobbledygook. I don't speak Russian. Sorry.
I just lost all my tea. They're playing the Redskins. I'll pick the Ravens. I pick the Raiders over the Rams. Otherwise, I don't know.
I'll pick the Lions to win. I don't know why. I don't know who they're playing. I don't know who they're playing as far as players go, but I'll pick the Lions.
I know the Falcons have the Bengals coming to town this weekend. I don't know what day the game's on. That's right. I'm their number one fan. But the coaching staff has already come out and said we will be rolling our starters out on offense for at least, well, they said like considerable time. So that's at least 2 drives. And it will be
2 drives.
Yeah. Yeah. And like if I was a coach in all the preseason games, I would say starting offense, you're going out there until you are responsible for 10 points for the good guys. So it's up to you for how long you stay out there.
Yeah.
And we got practice to destroy third string, practice squad, second, the rest of those guys. But we are going to put the weight always and forever on the first string, especially when you have a first string that hasn't accomplished shit like the Falcons and so many other teams. But either way, it will be officially, unless a fucking volcano blows up in Flowery Branch, it will be the first time that we will see Bijan, as it's come out now. It's not Bijan, but you can say it either way. Bijan Robinson, Cordero Patterson, Tyler Algier, and I'm sure half the people are like, who the fuck are these guys? You'll see. And Desmond Ridder, all on the field, all running the ball, catching passes out of the backfield. I know they're probably not going to show a lot as far as their offensive scheme, but if we can't get something going with the guys we have on offense this year, you're going to see a level of depravity and nihilism from the Falcons fan that only 2016 has ever been able to bring out. And this will be worse because there's only so much patience a fan can have, So I'm looking forward to this weekend seeing all of these offensive pieces on the field at once, because I want the Saints to respect our name and not be crowned NFC champ in fucking mid-August.
All right, that's
fucking
fair.
bullshit.
Those names don't sound like they're Jays.
I thought that's what he was getting at, but I don't know.
He said at, not responsible for. That's
there we go. It's all about phrasing. It seems downright barbaric that the preseason used to be 4 games, even though that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, how do we live like that?
Right. And apparently there was once a time when it was 6 games. Why would people do 6-game preseason? I don't get it.
World
Preseason was 6 games and the regular season was 8.
Yeah, that's McRib economics or something.
There it is.
Yes. That Ronald McDonald's full of shit, man.
All right. Anybody
All right,
got
boys.
anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm excited about preseason week 2.
Magoo?
Ditto.
I will end on this. I did a fantasy mock draft the other day and I quit 6 rounds in.